Hey, what's up? This is Toby Larson. Today I am filling in for host John on the American Enlightenment podcast. Today I will be talking about a few things from the casino business, and the whole industry, and all the misconceptions, and just things that people get wrong about the casino business.
Welcome to the spark where wisdom ignites, where minds expand and reach new heights. American Enlightenment, the journey begins. Knowledge and truth, where we dive in.
Okay, so today we'll be talking about blackjack, roulette, all the novelty games, poker, just a lot of stuff that casinos do. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to casinos and the way they operate. It's just kind of a well-known fact that they cheat and that you're never going to win if you go there because, it's not legit. Everything's set up against you when you walk in the door, right? Well, there's some truth to that. The truth is, yes, everything's stacked against you. The cards are literally stacked against you before you walk in there, okay? So that's how they pay their light bill. You wouldn't be able to go to casinos if they didn't win. They have set that they've set the odds in their favor from the very beginning. Okay, so way back when the mobsters in Vegas decided to open a casino, they knew the odds were in their favor. They never would have done that in the first place if they didn't think that the odds were going to pay them money. So they knew all these games were in favor of the house. Okay, there's not a whole lot of secrecy when it comes to that. But that does kind of seem to be the narrative when it comes to the public. A lot of people think that they're cheating and that there's no way a casino could win all the time. Okay. We'll start with blackjack. Blackjack has been around for a long time. The odds are fairly decent when it comes to blackjack. I dealt blackjack for 20 years. I know a lot about the game, and I can tell you this. It's not that the house is cheating, okay? There's a lot of reasons on why the house can't cheat, and I will get to that later in the video. But as far as the actual game itself and how the odds are, um, you're not supposed to win, okay? People are like, oh, it's 49-51. Well, if it's 49-51, the more hands that come out, the better odds the house has, okay? So there is 7 spots on the table, okay? And at that point, these people are going to make the decision first. Then I will flip my hand, okay? So if you don't know how to play blackjack, everyone gets a card. I deal myself a card. Everyone gets a card. I deal myself my second card face up, okay? Depending on how or what card I have facing up is what everyone's going to do. We will start from left to right. This person will make their choice. So if I have a face or like a queen showing, and they have a 14, let's say a jack and a 4, and they decide to hit, they draw a face card. There's more face cards than any other card in the deck, okay? So they draw a face card. Boom, 24. I take their money, I discard their cards, put their money in the rack. Next person has an 18, okay? They stay. Next person has a 17. They stay. 16, they hit, they bust. 13, they hit, draw 5, 18, right? So on, okay? By the time it gets to me and I flip over my 14 and then bust of 24, most people have lost their money already. So the house is making their money that way, not by taking the innocent man's money. It's more strength in numbers, right? So if everyone's making the choice before I do, you're just busting out before I even get a chance to bust. So of course you're not going to win. If I went first as a dealer, you would have more of an advantage, right? But there's a reason I go last when I'm dealing. So I've heard people like, Mickey Mace, okay? Mickey Mace is a famous blackjack, or he's a famous baccarat for the most part, gambler who has won a lot of money. He's a trust fund kid, or his dad gave him a bunch of money or whatever, I don't know. And he has kind of made a living off of, in my opinion, just kind of making up fallacies about the casino. He goes in, loses a bunch of money all the time, and then doesn't say anything about that, and then goes in, and then when he does win, because he's got lots of money, he talks about how well he did, right? And then he talks about how the casino's cheating, even though he won. So If you'll notice a pattern to his videos, which is when he loses, the casino was cheating. When he's winning, the casino's not cheating. Okay, so I think we can all kind of make some sense out of that. But one of the things that he has said in the past, which I just definitely don't see how anybody can't understand this, is he says that the shoes are set up. Okay, so those shoes, the blackjack, what you pull the card out of, he's saying that everything's set up. Or the machines, they now have these things they used to call, when I was a dealer, they were called shuffle master. Nowadays, I don't know. I don't know who the big company is or what, but I'll tell you this: that machine at one point could actually could sort your cards out. So at the end of the night, when we were done, we used to have to take the cards, take the decks out, sort them all by suit, put them back in the boxes. Okay. After a while, we got this machine one day that showed up, and you could actually put it in there, push sort, and the eye in the machine would sort the cards. Okay. So as a dealer, all of us were like, whoa, that's crazy. That's some new technology. This is a while ago. And we thought it was crazy. But we were all kind of like, that seems a little suspicious. Now maybe they can cheat, right? I mean, now that just shows you kind of how oblivious us dealers are. We're just handing cards out. We don't have a clue. We're going to look at the machine going, maybe this thing could cheat. Maybe it knows when to hit, stay, blah, blah, blah. Here's the issue with a lot of the things that Mickey May says. Mickey says that those shoes, it automatically knows what cards to give you, blah, 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 okay, because it can see inside the machine and all that. Now, here's my argument. Does that machine know how many players are on the table? Does that machine know who's hitting and who's staying? Does that machine know who split and how many times they split? Or if they doubled down, so if they took one card? Like, does it know who's coming and going? Like, what does the machine know, right? Not all that. Those are all variables that make it impossible for the machine to cheat. It's impossible. There's no way. So when I see the comments, people going, yeah, he's right. You see all the kind of the sore losers, I guess, saying, oh, there's no way I could lose, right? They must be cheating. No, you're just not good at gambling. That's the bottom line. And so these people that kind of like I read in the comments that say, oh, he's right, blah, blah, blah. Think about that. Think about that. All those variables. How's that possible? So not only does this thing have eyes, it's psychic. It has psychic abilities that know exactly what everyone's going to do on the table. Impossible. Okay. So when it comes to cheating in casinos, it's not like people think. I think some of the things casinos do that you might want to consider, I guess, cheating or a little shady, it would be things like the lights. Okay, so you go to Vegas, everything's super bright. You have bright colors and all that, right? They do that on purpose. Clocks. You never see a clock in a casino. They do that on purpose. They don't want you to know what time it is. They don't want you to know you got to get home for dinner. They want you to stay and gamble. So is that shady? I guess, right? That's their own little subliminal games they play. Those kind of things, windows, right? You'll never see a window in a casino. That's another thing. They don't want you to see that it's getting dark out. All those little mind games that casinos play with you, I agree. Is it shady? I guess that's up to you to decide. But as far as the card games themselves, they have gambling commissions. And gambling commissions cannot in any way condemn any of that stuff. They take that stuff very serious, and you'll get in huge trouble if you try and do anything shady in the casino business. So there is no collusion between the gambling commission and casinos or nothing like that. They literally come in and make sure everything's going legit. They're like police. It's not like that. So everything is looked at in a certain way and made sure it's all overseen, it's all policed, and it's all made sure that no one's cheating. Okay. So it's not as easy as one might think when it comes to cheating, such like that. Now, as far as odds go, like casino odds, I think poker is probably going to be our best odds. I think table games, obviously, craps has pretty good odds. Roulette's not too bad, depending on how you play the game. Now, there's a game right there, okay? So people have asked me as a dealer, is there any way you can cheat in the casino business as a dealer? My answer is no, all the time. Now, if there was one game that you could try to cheat at, it would be roulette. The reason is the wheel spins at a certain speed, okay? So if you're flicking, you spin that ball at a certain speed the other way, then you can get it to drop by using a number as a marker. You can get it to drop somewhere in a section. But even then, it's going to bounce around and you don't know where it's going to land. You can just kind of narrow it down by trying to use marks on the wheel. But that's why I would always suggest tip your dealer if you're going to play roulette. He'll try and hit that number. But as far as cheating goes and just flat out like, oh, they always cheat to win, or, I mean, I think a dealer would be more inclined to help a customer win money than the casino. And the reason for that is the casino is paying dealers minimum wage and then making them live off tips. That is not a good living. You don't make a lot of money as a dealer unless you make a lot of tips. And that's 99% females in that business. So if you make a lot of money off just tips, good for you. You can make a great living as a dealer. If not, there is absolutely no reason for you to sit here and act like you're going to make the house a bunch of money when you're not going to get any bonus from that. You're still going to make minimum wage. So what incentive would a pit boss or a dealer or anybody have to cheat? None. They'd rather you win, because when you win, you tip, I win. We actually can both make money that way. But you can't make any money if you're helping the house make money and then killing all your customers so they don't come back. So the whole Mickey Mace logic between dealers trying to cheat, the house trying to cheat to take his money is just a false narrative that he's ran with online. There's absolutely no truth to that. So next time you see anything like that, just remember to yourself, just remind yourself, how could that happen? With all those variables I explained, like, how do you know who's playing, who's not playing, who joined, who quit, who split, right? Who doubled? I don't know how you could possibly cheat. It's impossible. But there's games like Baccarat, right? Baccarat has a really good winning percentage. I mean, as far as like other games, I feel like it's pretty decent. It's player banker, but it's not quite 50-50. It's still in favor of the house because of the rules of the game. The way they structure the rules makes it so the house is going to win majority of the time. But when I say majority of the time, do I mean 80-20? No. It could be 55-45. They don't need a huge percentage. They just need enough of the odds in their favor so they can actually make money through strength of numbers, through the amount of time and how many hands are dealt. So, I mean, the casino business has definitely been around for a long time, and that's for a reason. The novelty games such as Let It Ride and they used to have like a Texas Shootout little game, and Pai Gow, and some of these other, you know, uh, Spanish 21, these little novelty games that have broke off of other games. Now, those are just flat out luck. Um, there's, I think the odds get worse and worse when you start to add side bets, right? So, like in blackjack, it used to just be your two cards against mine, and then we'd hit and draw, and whoever won, right? Well, that turned into, well, you got the side bet here, you got a side bet here, and now you got a side bet here. And so that's just adding to your bad odds, I guess, would how I would put it. You're not making it any easier on yourself by taking those bets. Now, are those the fun bets? Sure, like Spanish 21, that's a fun game because if you get the suited matches, you can make a lot of money, and I've seen people do very well in that game. But I've also seen people not get matches and just invest all of their winnings into those matches and get zero money for it. So it's not exactly a win-win, you know. All of those novelty games are always going to be a house favor, to say the least, right? Pai Gow. Pai Gow is a poker game. It's a 7-card poker game that is, you break it down into a 2-card hand and a 5-card hand. So you have 5-card poker hand and a 2-card hand, and you have to win them both to win the hand. If you lose one, win one, and you tie, it's called a push. So there is different types of games in there like that. But I think Pai Gow, if you want to sit down and have a good time, hang out with your wife or your friends and just kind of play small and sit around for a while and not necessarily, get rich, but maybe get lucky on a bonus or something, then Pai Gow is a great game for you. It's got decent odds, and it is a good time as far as sitting around just playing cards. It's not too intense. It's kind of slow. It's just I think it's a good game for people that aren't hardcore gamblers, right? Now blackjack's more fast paced and is built for the kind of high intense gambler that wants fast money, win and lose, right? Let It Ride, it's one of those old school games that's been around for a long time. The reason people like Let It Ride is you can bet 3 times what you're going to lose. So if you bet $5, you can bet 5 on 3 spots, which will give you $15 bets. You can take, after you look at your hand, you can take one back, you can take one back. So you can really bet 3 times just to lose one, and that's why people like that game. Unfortunately, the odds are terrible, and you lose most of the time you play Let It Ride, but that's another novelty game that is fun. For someone that was going to go into the casino business for some, or the casino for some good, if you're good at cards and you know how to play poker, I feel like poker is definitely the way to go. One, you're not going against the house. 2, you're going against other people's poker skills, really. And if you know how to play poker, you can usually win and do decent against people that aren't, I guess, so good at poker. There's always going to be a couple people there that are pretty good at the game, have done their homework and research, and know how to play the game well. Then there's always a handful of people that just play for entertainment that, just end up losing their money most of the time. But poker is a more skill-based game that I feel like you can actually win on if you're good, and if you've taken the time to try and master that craft. I feel like poker in the long run can be a good investment for you. I actually had friends who have made a living off poker just because they know how to play, and they have a high skill at the game, and then I guess they're also pretty good at walking away when they need to, is what I'm trying to say. So they got good willpower. They don't just sit there and blow all their money. Yeah, but as far as the casino goes, slot machines are always terrible. Everyone loves slot machines. I personally I like to bet on sports. When I go bet on sports, sometimes I'll sit down and play a slot machine before I leave. I lose every time. Well, most of the time. It's just a flip a coin thing to me. There's no rhyme or reason to slot machines. I think the one thing about slot machines that everybody gets misconstrued is people think that when you say stop it, like you stop the reel, you win, you stopped it. Unfortunately, there's no truth to that. The minute you touch the button, you've already decided whether you're going to win or lose. So the reels are going to do what they're going to do. Whether you push it or not, that's up to you. But it's not exactly your doing as much as it was when you pushed the button. So I guess it is kind of your doing because you pushed the button at the right time, right? But I would look at slot machines as a random, you know, generator that goes like this, and there's like one couple spots here and there that say win, and on those slots you have to push the button and stop it right on that. And if you do, then you'll win the hand. Other than that, each reel's different. The 80 cents and the 150, they're not the same. They're all different reels. So there is no like pre-program, oh, I'm going to win or lose when it comes to slot machines. It's kind of all on you. But the odds are definitely stacked against you when it comes to slot machines. So if you're a big slot junkie, majority of the time you're going to lose. But hey, they're fun. They got lots of colors and cool games and cool bonuses that you can play. Just not exactly a winning venture, if you know what I'm saying. So, as far as that goes, the whole purpose of me doing this video was, as someone that dealt cards for over 20 years, has ran the floor, has done everything in the casino, I will say casinos do not have your best interest in mind, but they're not cheating. They don't have a reason to cheat. There's no need to cheat. The odds are already stacked against you and in their favor. So the purpose of cheating, all it would do is get them in trouble, risk their company, have them shut down so they can't make the millions of dollars that they make off of people like you. So there's no reason for them to just be like, oh, I'm going to take this guy's measly few $100 or even a few $1,000, when in the long run, they're going to make way more than that every single day. I mean, I've worked at big casinos and I've worked at small card rooms. And even those small card rooms make a decent amount of money. I've done soft count in those places, and it's a lot of money. They make a ton. And so when you look at that and you realize that there's no shady stuff going on, and it's just people coming in and just throwing their money away, then you realize that, oh, this isn't the casino. For 20 years, I watched people come in here voluntarily and give their money away. I mean, I've watched people that were very wealthy that would come in and spend $500 on 3 hands, $1,500 a hand every week. They would come in and they'd win sometimes and they would lose, but they'd come in. I watched them do that for years till there was a certain point where they were playing $5 a hand on one hand because they had no money left. So as a dealer, there's a aspect to it that's kind of, it makes you feel bad. I don't like watching people throw their lives away, especially when they're coming here and they're telling me it's my fault. I mean, us as dealers, we wear a lot for these people, and it's definitely not our fault. But if you were to ask the average gambler whose fault it is, they would tell you it's the dealer's fault. The dealer's the one taking all the money. It's the dealer's fault. The dealer's cheating. The dealer did this. The dealer did that. The dealer's getting paid minimum wage to hope you win so they can get tipped. And the sad part is, I'd say a good 60% of the people that go into the casino business don't even tip anyway. So we're just rooting for you to win, hoping you'll tip. Not because you will tip. We just hope you will, because that's how we're going to feed our family. And a lot of people just can't understand that. Cheating for the casino would in no way help me or any of my dealer friends when I was a dealer. We were just trying to eat like everyone else. And tips is how we did that. So what would the point be of taking everyone's money off of the table? It's just something no one ever thought about. And they could watch this video and I don't think people still even understand what I'm talking about. Right? There's no logic to us taking your money. Right? We just want you to win and tip, bro. That's all. If you take the house's money, we don't even care about that, bro. We ain't paid to protect that. We're paid small amounts of money to hand cards out. That's it. That's it. And every single table that you see in that pit, that's the big ring of tables you see, they're all that way. Those are all minimum wage dealers. Shit, poker dealers are making minimum wage. Everyone's living off tips. People were like, oh, well, I had a friend who worked at casino business, didn't make minimum wage. Yeah, they're probably a pit boss. But pit bosses don't make tips. Right? So there's just different positions in the casino. There's different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, everyone's following rules. No one's shady in there. And shady, maybe, but cheating, no. And that's the one thing I want to get across to everyone out there that thinks the casinos just want to cheat. No, I don't work in the casino business anymore. No, they didn't pay me to do this. No, I have no reason to stick up for casinos. Like I said, they're pretty grimy and they're pretty shady in their own way. They just don't cheat. I wish I could sit here and tell everybody they did because I work there. Wish I could just be like, hey, man, I worked there for 20 years and it's crazy. They cheat. Us dealers used to just pull cards out of our underwear and I don't know. None of us are that tricky. We're not magicians. We're just dealers. A lot of the dealers I work with, could barely deal cards. I don't know how they were going to do magic tricks on top of that, right? So next time you watch something like a Mickey Mace video where he's trying to tell you the casinos cheat, I'm telling you right now, Mickey's been thrown out of casinos for throwing cards at dealers and doing rude stuff to people. He demands a lot and acts like a big dog. And because of that, casinos don't want his business. There's a difference between not wanting to deal with somebody and then kicking someone out because they're cheating, because the house is cheating, right? It's not that, or because he's winning so much. They don't care about that. That's another thing. A lot of people think that if you ask someone to leave a casino, right, or you 86 them from the casino, that you just, it's messed up, right? It's the house's discretion. When you count cards, right, the pit boss, the dealer, the surveillance are all counting with you. So when you get to a point where we're like, oh, okay, here he goes, and he loads up, they know that. Everyone's watching you. So when you're done and you're like, oh man, I'm counting cards. I watched this MIT blackjack movie. I learned the plus negative count. Now I all of a sudden feel like I'm a blackjack master and I can count cards. Cool. But when you get kicked out, it's not because you're some badass or because you're cheating. They don't want your business. They know what you're doing. It's not even illegal. They just don't need it. Okay? So next time you see something like that, I want people to understand, you can get thrown out for anything out of a casino. And if they don't want you there, it's just because they don't want you winning. People are like, oh, I'm too good. Sure, you can call it that. But they don't want to deal to you. They don't have to. That's their right. So next time you want to count cards and get thrown out of the casino because you feel like you watched the cool movie that taught you how to do that, do it. It's fine. But you might get thrown out. Okay? And it's not nothing shady. It's just their right. So next time you go to a casino, remember this. You're walking into a losing battle. You're helping pay those light bills. And you might win. But you're probably going to lose. And there's no cheating involved. It's just a losing battle. Okay? When David fought Goliath, hey, you never know, right? You never know, but it's a losing battle from the get-go. So thanks for watching American Enlightenment Podcast. I am Toby. Until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.